There we go.
Got
Awesome. 3, 2, and 1. Well, Mayor Shane, welcome back. Mayor's Monday here at WSAU, WSAU.com. How have things been going down there in Wisconsin Rapids? Everything status quo, everything just nice and calm these days?
Well, thank you and good morning to you, Mike. Things are going well. It's construction season. It's building season. It's remodel retail space season. A lot of activity down here.
Oh
Jail's
yeah.
being built, and
Yeah.
so cranes are operating and walls are going up, and keep it pretty busy around here.
All right. So one thing I did once with uh Mayor Zach Ruink was we figured out the number of cranes operating in Wisconsin Rapids per capita. You had like 2 or 3 of them going at one time in a community of what, 18,000?
Correct.
What do you got going on right now? I mean, those metrics have got to be through the roof.
Now, for crane operation, I think we have 2 right now, but
2?
yes, and they're all in the jail right now, building the jail and putting up walls. So they stay pretty busy.
You know, it's still in a town of, again, 20,000 people. You got 2 cranes operational. I think you're doing pretty well there.
Yeah, when you drive in the community or through a community and you see cranes operating, it's always a good sign.
Yeah, because obviously you got to be moving forward in some of these areas, and that's exactly what you're doing. Especially with the Shopco building, you've gotten that going to be split up into some retail space as well. And as you mentioned, the new jail, which is something that you've needed for I think going on a couple of decades, right?
Decades, yes. Yeah, Harbor Freight is kind of in the old Shopco building is moving right along. They're getting that built, and hopefully the other ones will start eventually here. And some other things that will be happening that we'll just have to wait and watch for on A Street and see maybe some new construction there. And yeah, it's moving right along.
But what about Chick-fil-A?
No Chick-fil-A yet. Boy, that's something I'd really like to be able to announce here, but no Chick-fil-A yet.
Are you sure?
Not yet.
Okay, I'm gonna hold you. I'm just saying.
That could make Rapids a destination.
You can, I mean, again, you can confide in me if it's something that you're working on.
It would be our secret.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, like I said, we're getting the one in Rib Mountain. We hope anyway. I will not settle until these communities officially have the deliciousness that is the spicy chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A.
Say it is popular.
It is very popular indeed. The great news there on the construction front, bringing tax base into the community. Obviously, the other thing that's going to bring tax base into the community here in the next couple of weeks, you're going to have a big 4th of July celebration. Once again, shooting the fireworks off over the river. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, we will have our annual 4th of July event on 4th of July, and it'll take place at dusk, and we'll have all the downtown activities and the vendors like we do every year. And haven't heard anything on the flyover yet, but we're working on that yet, and hopefully we'll get some good news here as it gets closer to the 4th of July, but we just never know.
Yeah, and again, it's hard to believe that we're already talking about this, but I know Wausau's got the plans put in place already as well. Stevens Point certainly upping their game this year with the number of extra people they will have in town, thanks to the USGA Men's Senior Open. So, what do you have special in this year for the fireworks show?
Well, as we were talking off air, is we always have the best in the area. So, we set the bar high, and the bar should hopefully remain up there, and it should be a great show. And yeah, there are definitely going to be people around central Wisconsin, probably from here to Wausau and Point and Marshfield. There's just going to be a lot of activity.
Indeed, and again, speaking of the USGA event, what is the city ready for that, or are you just kind of sitting back, wait and see, and saying, hey, maybe if we get a few extra meals served at Jennings because of it, great.
Yeah, I haven't got any numbers yet, but I'm pretty confident most of our hotels are probably already booked, and any VRBOs or any of those type of things are probably taken, and we will be ready. And then just south of us we have Sand Valley, so there's a lot of great golf down there. So anybody that has an interest in golf, well, I don't know how you could not take advantage of all the golf in the area.
Yeah, indeed, because I believe it was Scott Van Pelt or one of the ESPN personalities recently on Twitter actually talking up Sand Valley and saying Wisconsin might be the best kept secret in golf in North America. I believe it was Scott Van Pelt. I'm not sure 100% on that, but he talked about the courses down by Kohler at Whistling Straits and Sand Valley as well, saying Wisconsin's got some pretty good golf going on here. And of course, this all coming just a few weeks out from the Senior Open at Century World.
Yeah, you just look at between Sand Valley, the Lake Arrowhead, both their courses. We've got the Ridges, we've got Bullseye, we've got Tri-City, we've got Homestead. You can play a different 18 every day for a week if you wanted, and it's all good golf.
Mm-hmm. Have you, though, played a different 18 every day?
I would not admit to my golf game. Everyone jokes that with a mayor that you might have a good golf game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I've played once in the last 4 years, and I'm not going to talk about it either.
Don't worry,
Luckily, it was a best ball contest.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't think my ball was used at all.
Don't worry, you've got me.
Nobody wants to play the woods.
Don't worry, you've got me beat. If you've played once in the last 4 years, you've certainly got me beat. But yeah, either way, I know this is something that you've certainly been looking forward to, and the revenue that it's going to be bringing into the area, and then as you mentioned, just even the exposure for your area as well is something that is going to be worth a lot for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's good for all of us, Wausau, Marshfield, Point, Rapids, and even in town of Rome and everybody else around us. The exposure to central Wisconsin and our amenities and our way of life and our quality of life, and I think those are all great aspects that we can highlight here.
Absolutely. Now to the actual business that you've got going on at City Hall, you're going to be talking about, I would call this a pretty significant change coming up here later tonight with your city council. Give us an idea of what this is and what's bringing it on.
So there's going to be a discussion tonight at a committee of the whole meeting of potentially eliminating our committees and going to 2 council meetings a month, and that everything will be directly to council. And I think some of the discussion has been that, and I think we can all agree that government can be a little slow at times. And the hope is that instead of waiting a month in between councils, that we would have a council almost every 2 weeks. And so, potentially approvals could be moving along quicker versus a month wait in between those meetings. And so it's going to be it's going to be an interesting discussion, because the other side of the coin is, the committee meeting allows for great discussion on items. And I think if you have too long of a council meeting, you'll start having people drop off. And
Oh yeah,
kind of like, hey, let's get through this and let's kind of push things through. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting discussion, and it seems like anything big comes down to a tie, and then I have to break the tie. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's true. On the one side, as you mentioned, looking at things in committee, I think up here in Wausau, you would hear a lot of people say, well, in that case, that lets us look at this item through a specific lens, be that public safety aspect of it, economic development, a finance committee. Of course, what is this going to cost the city versus the benefits to it? Whereas if you bring it directly to council, you're going to have all those discussions right there in one format, and you might not get a chance to get into the weeds on something, so to speak.
Yeah, and in the committee process, those people that are on that committee are kind of more hyper focused in that area of knowledge that, you start diluting it the more people get in there, and then who knows how those discussions are going to be. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting debate and discussion tonight, and we'll have to wait and see kind of where the council goes with it.
Yeah, and again, on the other side of that, as you said, bringing it all to the council at once, everybody gets the same information. You maybe get a chance to get a lot of opinions and to hash something out like that. But on the other side of that as well, I guess from a resident standpoint, you might have a lot of people that you're catching by surprise with some of these things, because there hasn't been a week or two of discussion leading up to the final decision.
Yeah, and I've got my opinions, which I'll share tonight, and I have an idea, and I'll share that tonight. And
Hmm.
but I think we can come up with something workable that maybe can speed up government, but still, not make it look like it's too fast. Or because I'm very concerned about transparency and making sure that people have that knowledge and information of what's going on in government. And sometimes if it goes to a meeting that night and decided that night, and then it's done, and we don't want to have to play catch up then with information.
Right. Yeah, indeed. And again, this sounds like a really great discussion to have. And of course, that's where all of these great ideas come out, hopefully, anyway,
Hopefully,
right?
exactly. That's
Yes.
the purpose, or at least through these debates.
Hmm. Indeed. A couple more things before we let you go. First off, I guess it's been a while since we've talked about the what was the Verso mill. I am suddenly now forgetting what it is called now. So speaking of things going on in the city, do we have any movement yet at that site, or any idea that it could, maybe possibly get the wrecking ball and get completely redeveloped at some point?
So as I look out my window at the building, it's Billerud, Billerud,
Biller,
North
there we go.
America,
Yep.
and so there has not been any updates or a lot of discussion going on right now. Um, we're still waiting for our redevelopment plan that was, bid out to be done. So we haven't seen that yet of the ideas of what it could be if it isn't the mill. But I there's always hopes that it'll still be a mill. I think part of it's just such a large campus. It's a very large mill, and it's a lot. I think for somebody to just go walk in and flip the switch on. If it was a smaller mill with one machine or two machines, it might be a little bit easier. But yeah, trying to work through that, and there's always hope. You got to be optimistic.
Hmm. Yeah, indeed. And of course, in your job as mayor, obviously to be an ambassador for the city and something like this, and to vouch for the city. So I guess my question now is, again, it's been a few months since we've talked about this. I mean, how much of this is this taking up of your time? I mean, are you having a meeting a month, meeting every couple of weeks, whatever that may be
They're
on it?
more, they're more, for me, it's more phone conversations with legislators and state and federal. Otherwise, and then with our community development department, because he has different set of connections and having those discussions. Um, if there was value in spending my whole day doing it, I would. But it's hard to make because it's a private business. Ultimately, it's a private business, and that private business gets to choose its own course and its own path. And there's nothing that we can force them to do. Unfortunately, we can't force them to sell it. My understanding, it is for sale, and they're actively trying to sell it. But that's all we can do. We can ask, we can question, and it's up to them whether or not they want to answer those questions. But we can hope, and just trying to keep that dialogue there is important.
Yeah, and again, to be an advocate for the city to
Absolutely.
hopefully bring something in that's going to be a net positive for your community and your residents.
But we have a great community. We have great people here. We've got other great businesses. The mill is, I don't think I look at Rapids as no longer just a mill town. Unfortunately, our mill's closed right now, and Rapids is still here. We're still going strong. We're still growing. We're still advocating for our interests, whether it be state and federal. So we're pushing along, and we're a community, and we're going to keep doing that.
One more thing, then, before we let you go, you want some residents feedback on the city or to the city through the committee appointment process. Tell us what you've got open and what people should be applying for.
So we do have a process on our website that people can apply for boards, commissions, and so we're always actively looking. We have some positions that are coming open on the library board, board of zoning appeals, board of review. So we're kind of looking for residents that have an interest in those areas. But if you check out our website, you can kind of apply for what interests you. We ask you to submit a resume because sometimes people applying for committees and commissions, that their day job may add a lot of value to that board or commission. And so I think there's a lot of people that have a lot of skill sets that could help benefit the community by their skill sets.
Yeah, and most of these cases it's a fairly small commitment, a couple hours a month maybe, and then in the process you're also again helping make your community a better place.
Absolutely.
Well, again, the city website to find all of that, and that is at wirapids.org.
That is correct.
Okay, sweet. It just came to me off the in the moment.
It's
right
kind of
there.
original.
Yeah, exactly. It is. Oh, Mayor Shane, we always appreciate the time. We look forward to chatting again next month.
Yeah, and I also want to take an opportunity to welcome Chief Dan Hoskins. He's our new police chief. We're looking forward to his skill sets that he brings with him to the department and where he takes the department in the future. He's got kind of a lot on his plate, and we're kind of looking forward to see how that develops. But should be a good addition.
Absolutely. I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet. I will maybe have to head down there and meet up with him at one point or another. But
definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, make sure he's got a good media liaison for me, would you?
I think he'll be a good one.
All right.
Himself. He will
That's what I like to
represent the
hear.
department well. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Again, Mayor Shane, we appreciate the time, and we'll look forward to chatting again next month.
Great seeing you, Mike. Take care.